show. Struggle or strangle. Handle this. The void protects its children. Time to up the stakes. Shadow, rise and fight. Grasp your... Until next time.
They lied to you, Father. I'm your true memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed. Embraced by mystery. Ultimate chaos. Gaze to the abyss.
Just need a moment to catch my breath.
Irrelevant.
Hey, what's up, everyone? How's it going? I was thinking about what's going to be my league start next league and what do I want to do. Now, I think there's probably a really good chance that I'm still going to do Fire Trap Elementalist. But what this is right here is an Explosive Trap Trickster. And I actually didn't know that this was a build that other people played when I started out doing this. I know that Explosive Trap has always been just, hey, this is Giga DPS, kind of similar to Ice Trap. You know, a lot of people are doing like full ZHP Ice Trap stuff right now if you just want to one-shot Ubers. But Explosive Trap's always been kind of in the middle ground where you can map with it and make a balanced build, but it also scales into very good damage as well. So I wanted to experiment with Explosive Trap, and knowing what they did to Saboteur and knowing that Trickster is pretty cool right now and just trying to make something more tanky. I did most of what I had until yesterday entirely blind. I put it together entirely blind. I actually didn't even look on PoE Ninja, and it did very well. Going through the axe was incredibly smooth. Once I switched over to Explosive Trap, not the best for like insane clear, but it is pretty strong. Incredible single target, but the clear's a little janky. And then once I got to maps and started kind of tuning the build, it started feeling really good. And then people in chat were like, hey, have you seen Fearless Dumbo's build? I hadn't. I had totally put it together, not knowing that there was actually a build out there. I'll link this below. I did reference this build for continuing to tune my build and getting a lot of ideas. So big credit to Fearless Dumbo. But I put a lot of my own spin on this, kind of adapting it for what we've learned about 3.21, especially, you know, the lack of a Skin of the Lords. I tried very hard to avoid too many uniques. The only uniques that I have at all are a Thread of Hope, a Lightning Coil, and a Sunblast. I don't think I have a single other unique at all. So very early league accessible. I'm currently level 88, and I've spent, I'm going to toss out a number. Don't crucify me. Somewhere in the 10 to 20 divine range is what this build is what I estimate. I even took out my Enlighten support. There's no Enlighten here at all. There are alternate quality gems that you can swap down to non-alternate quality. This is in the 10 to 20 divine range. Whether that's 1 week into the league for you, 2 weeks into the league, whatever. This is my estimate for, you know, where I would want to take it in a league start scenario. This is not a build guide. This is just me exploring. Got to put all these caveats in here, man. This is not a build guide at all. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about a build that I'm trying out. And so for me, this is me emulating kind of a league start-ish scenario. 1 to 2 weeks into the league, 10 to 20 divines. What can it do? What does it feel like? With that out of the way, what is the build and you know, why am I playing it? So it's an Explosive Trap Trickster with a Sunblast. So, you know, normally when you throw a trap, it throws one trap out, and then the trap can get triggered by an enemy. When an enemy gets too close to it, it'll explode. With Sunblast, skills will throw up to 2 additional traps, but the traps can't be triggered by enemies. And so what this means is now I throw 3 traps every time I throw a trap, but they're kind of randomly in an area like that, and they don't go off when an enemy walks near them. So it has this roll on it that goes from 50 to 75% reduced trap duration. So default trap duration is 4 seconds. So that's either 2 seconds or 1 second to trigger. So you want that to be as close to 75% as possible. And yeah, the idea is that we can throw a lot of traps out. An Explosive Trap just goes and goes and goes and goes. That's kind of it. We have Shield Charge and Frostblink, and then we throw our Explosive Traps. Unfortunately, they take a full second to go off. So if we're mapping and we're kind of going forward, the explosions will go off behind us. We do have to backtrack to kill monsters. I did try a lot of other stuff. So an option is you can do Exsanguinate with trap support and chain support. And it has really, really good clear, but the single target is so bad. You would need like a full body, because you don't want to swap 3 gems, right? You would need a full body armor swap, you know, with your backup gems for your explosive trap. So I preferred to just use explosive trap by itself. All the other trap options that I tried just didn't really work out. We're manually casting Assassin's Mark. We have Bear Trap here that makes monsters take 10% increased damage from traps. We are using Arcanist Brand with Combustion, Elemental Weakness, and Wave of Conviction. I'm using Hatred. So the Wave of Conviction actually converts more to cold than fire. So I actually inflict cold exposure instead of fire exposure, but that's okay. The way that Explosive Trap works is it is a physical skill that is by default 50% converted to fire. So no matter what, as we know, conversion on the gem takes priority over all over conversion. If you have 50% converted to fire on the gem, and then you have 50% converted to cold and 50% converted to lightning, the way that that works is the 50% to fire is done first. That's done before any other conversion is taken into account. And then the other 50% is then divvied up by all other sources of conversion. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of flexibility for converting this, you know, fully to cold or anything like that. But since this is such a strong, hard-hitting skill, we still want to run Hatred and get value out of that. So for auras, we're running Hatred, Grace, Skitterbots, Vitality, and Clarity. Because this is a trapper, we can't leech. We don't get anything from our own hits. So unfortunately, regen and anything on kill is all we can do here. Then I'm using Vortex on left click with Bone Chill. This is increased cold damage taken. Again, we do a good amount of cold damage right here. All right, and we'll do a little demonstration map right here. Yeah, so for a League starter, this feels really good. I think the big thing that you'd want to be careful of here is, man, just try the playstyle. It is like if you're used to a bow build, or any just like Wave of Conviction Ignite or anything like that, it does feel better to play. However, the scaling of the damage, again, I'm in the 10 to 20 divine range, probably closer to 20. I am in that range, and I'm doing 33 million consistent DPS, and I actually think it's higher than that. I think this is a low estimate. I'll show you on the boss. You'll see why. So the playstyle here is we're just shield charge, throw our traps, and you can see it like they die behind me, right? And so you do have to be kind of careful about paying attention to loot drops. You don't want to leave that Mirror of the Calandra on the ground. But the damage is really good, and as you can see, the defense is exceptional. The max spell suppression, 66% spell damage suppressed. We have really, really good evasion, 82% chance to evade. You know, really, really good defensively. And then, yeah, I do have this double corrupted lightning coil. I got this for 50 chaos. I had to buy it. I was trying to do League Start testing, and this was up for 50 chaos. Just no one cared about socketed trap gems in a lightning coil. I 6-linked it with tainted currency really, really quickly. But yeah, this was really, really cheap. No one valued it. So I had to buy it. Obviously, the damage would go down if I didn't have that corruption. So, you know, just to simulate that, if I take 2 levels off my explosive trap, I'm still 25 million DPS. But that is a really, really good corruption. And early League, if you could just buy lightning coils, single corrupt them, try to get that socketed trap level right there, it's actually huge, right? And the cool thing is this is a great replacement for a Skin of the Lords, which is the go-to, right? That's the everything spell League starter chest that everyone used to go for. But because it is so rare now, and particularly so expensive on League Start, I just can't recommend a Skin of Lords in a build guide anymore. Unfortunately, right? Like, that sucks. Like, it was 10 to 20 divines for a good one this league. And so Lightning Coil is spectacular because it gives us 50% of fizz from hits taken as lightning damage, which goes a very long way to us avoiding having to run Determination, Granite Flask, stuff like that, and still get really good physical defense. This just gives us a really good baseline physical damage reduction. Obviously, more would be better, but honestly, with the Ghost Shrouds and the Lightning Coil and 66% spell suppression, I think we're in a pretty good place here that we don't have to run Determination and an Armor Flask. We still have 11k Fizzmax hit without our Mortal Call up. And then if the Mortal Call is available, right, that goes to a 15k Fizzmax hit, 51k EHP. I think that's a really good place, considering how much evasion we have and how fast we are on this character. All right, let's just get to the boss here real quick. Let's see what it really is. So Bear Trap, Arcanist Brand, throw a bunch of explosive traps, get my Assassin's Mark on it, and then she's dead. So you can see there was a little delay there, right? When I was casting all my utility, there was a little delay. Veritani comes out very quickly, so we can't really get it all out right away, but the damage is really good. So yeah, it's just really solid. There's nothing flashy here. It's, I mean, I guess you'll you'll flashbang yourself if you're trying to play like this in the middle of the night. But yeah, nothing super fancy here. I'll link my POB below. This is not a build guide. I've tried to give you guys just an idea of rough range. What I'm thinking right here, this is a very cool, strong option. I want to have my options open and experiment as much as I can as we get ready for 322. We don't know what's going to happen in the patch notes, of course. Vengeance Cascade, probably going to get hit. Just want to share with you guys a cool little build that I've been playing around with the past couple days. You know, maybe spark your imagination a little bit, experiment a little bit yourselves, see how you can look at existing builds and really, you know, adapt to what's happened, right? Like this build guide that was using Skin of Lords probably was experimented with a little bit before. Yeah, so like you can see he's running through Standard League right here. So this video was probably posted before 321 actually came out, had Skin of Lords in it, right? Like, you know, all of the build guides that said Skin of Lords, including mine, kind of got hit by recommending that and not knowing how rare it would be after the breach nerfs. So things like this, look for alternative options. You know, maybe look for implicit double corrupts that you can go for on cheap uniques that then can be almost as good or potentially even better. Like I think this is actually better defensively than a Skin of Lords. All right, that's it for me today. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Strike.